Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Anton, and welcome to today's video for Backpack Battles. Today, what are we doing? We're gonna be doing a little bit of a patch review. Patch just came out. Lots of stuff changed here, so we're gonna go over it. For the people who haven't seen my previous videos about patches, I like to go over the patch, talk about what I like, what I dislike, what I would like to see. Give my opinion on the changes and stuff like that, and try to predict how the meta will shape up, and basically give an overall reaction to the patch. So, let's get right into it. So what are they saying? Hello everyone, it's time for another patch. It's the first week where Pyromancers were not on top of the charts, so rejoice Pyromancer players, there won't be major nerfs for you this time. That to me is honestly kind of weird. I'm not disagreeing with them. I'm not saying that they're wrong. Obviously, they have the stats. I don't. I'm surprised that Pyro is not number one. But it's also not that surprising because Berserker is really good. So I'd assume Berserker was number one. I'd be very surprised if Ranger was number one, and, well, Reaper is kind of a joke at the moment. So what else are they saying, though? While this does not mean that class balance is perfect, we are getting closer. This patch will mostly focus on subclass balance now, and start a journey to get them all viable. I believe in you. I believe in you, devs. You can make Cauldron a real item. So, what do we got first? We got the neutral stuff first. So, quite a few things to go through. First off, it looks like a lot of the badges are being changed. First off, we got Rainbow Badge activation delay. They nerfed it, so it takes a little longer to activate. I personally don't like Rainbow Badge for a lot of reasons, but it's really strong in the early rounds. Even at 7 seconds, it's a lot of, I guess, value. Like, yeah, one buff of every type's not great in the late game, but in the very early game, like round 1 through 5, it's really good. So I do understand this nerf. Stone Badge item values from 2 to 1 gold. I kind of hate this. I really like the fact that it could give you 2 gold of items, but I get it. Armor gain and 2 gold was just a little too much in my opinion. Kind of would have preferred they nerfed the armor gain instead and keep the 2 gold, but whatever. Skull Badge, it looks like they're buffing up Skull Badge cooldown. Half-second cooldown. Half-second faster now, so that's kind of nice. I mean, like, whatever, sure. Flame Badge gives you 3 heat instead of 2 heat now. Kind of surprised they're buffing the Flame Badge in all honesty, but sure. Maybe because I feel like a lot of power of Pyromancer is in their subclass items, so that might be why. Looks like they're buffing Magic Staff too. A little bit faster now by 0.2 seconds. That's a little scary in all honesty for some Ranger stuff. Especially with these other things. A Hero Longsword, a Falcon Blade, and Stone are all getting buffed, it seems. Longsword's going to deal +2 damage, so some Longsword rock shenanigans. Falcon Blade's a little bit faster by 0.1 second. Stone is also getting buffed, so it's got a little bit faster of 3 seconds by a 0.2 second cooldown decrease. So that's also like a bag of rocks, bag of stone bag, whatever it's called. Buff. Kind of cute play to do bag of rocks with Hero Longsword or Steel Goose. So that's kind of a cute play, cute buff. Don't think it's gonna make bag of rocks too popular, but you see it every now and again under like a Hero Longsword or a Hero Sword or a Steel Goo. So that's nice. But what do we got for the classes now? Time to start looking at some classes, I guess. First off, we got Pyromancer. Let's see here. Pyromancer, looks like they're nerfing Dragon Nest. Luck from 3 to 2, heat from 3 to 2. Dragons were arguably the best, most consistent build. I'd say Excalibur Pyro was better, but they weren't as consistent, like Excalibur with Banner. But they weren't consistent because they would die in the mid game and early game before they found Excalibur. So I kind of like this buff. It doesn't kill dragons in my opinion. Dark Lantern seems to be getting buffed. Sure, whatever. It's fine. Lantern, I don't know. I feel like Lantern really is feeling the pain of the Phoenix buffs, or sorry, the Phoenix nerfs now, but it seems okay. Friendly Fire, heat required for 100 damage from 80 to 70, so it needs less heat to get that 100 damage. Maybe this opens up like a burst kind of build with Hammer, like a Hammer Molten Dagger Friendly Fire build with some kind of like just kill him in the first like 3 or 4 seconds. Flame Whip buff, 0.2 less stamina is needed now, which I feel like is good. In the last patch, I did try out some Flame Whip stuff. I was left a little wanting when I tried it out. It always felt like I would honk too much and run out of stamina because of how much stamina it used. So this is kind of nice. Staff of Fire gains a little more damage, but its base damage is lower. It feels like it's supposed to be a side grade, but overall I feel like this is a buff. Kind of scary. Staff of Fire has kind of been lagging behind, though, in terms of the Pyro builds, but this might help push it up in terms of some power level, so I like this. Next, we got Berserker. Doesn't seem like many changes here, but I'm assuming these are going to be mostly nerfs because of what they were saying earlier on. So Brass Knuckle, yeah, they're making it slower from 2.3 to 2.5 seconds. Really love that. Brass Knuckle, I feel, is just by far the best Berserker subclass item for general builds. Like, obviously, like Puppies, Wolf Emblem, whatever, works better in some builds and so on and so on. Small Chain Whip nerf, a little bit slower here. That's fine. Chain Whip, in my opinion, is probably like the 3rd, maybe the 4th best build for Berserker. But out of all the Berserker builds, it's the least fun to play against because it just completely negates certain builds. Like, you have a Vulpertinger, get screwed, I guess. Really like this, though. Anvil. Damage bonus from 1 to 2. Stamina bonus from 3 to 4. Number of slots, though, is reduced. So I'm really, really glad that they're doing this. Just really going back, the last patch, they nerfed Anvil to only 1 bonus damage. So it looks like they're going back and basically reverting the change. That change they did, the nerf to the Anvil, basically turned it from a decent subclass item to a bad one. Really didn't see it anymore. This probably brings it back to playable subclass item. Probably by decreasing the number of slots, it probably makes it easier to balance too. Kind of wish they would make it so that gems weren't crafted items, but you know, it's fine, I guess. But yeah, like, overall, Berserker, I think they could have been nerfed a little bit harder, like 1 more small nerf, but I don't even know what I would nerf, like Wisdom Puppy or something, maybe, if you really wanted to throw in another nerf. But maybe like a Busted Blade nerf. Busted Blade feels a little too good, but I don't think it needs a nerf yet. Honestly, I would like another Chain Whip nerf. Like, Chain Whip's not that OP, but it's just really unfun to play against. But, especially if you build a run around buffs and stuff. Next up, what do we got? We got Ranger. Quite a few things here with Ranger. First off, Yggdrasil Leaf, number of slots reduced from 10 to 8. I do like that. Really nice that I felt Yggdrasil Leaf was definitely the best of the subclass items for them. So I like this. A little less mana for them, too, for some mana thirst shenanigans. Piercing Arrows, removing more block now. That's great. Arrow definitely, in my opinion, is the weakest of the subclass items, so it's nice that they're getting something for them. Feels like they're trying to be like their specialty is trying to be like armor, anti-armor or something. Big Bowl of Treats now has a little more food speed bonus, so that's cute. Belladonna Shade has a higher damage cap now, so 2 to 3 or 2 to 6. Okay, that's not really going to change my opinion too much on it, but if anything, that does make it more annoying when you get high rolled and they do big crits or something. What have we got next? And last but not least, my favorite class, we have the Reaper. Lots of changes here. Oh my. Okay, so looks like it's all buffs here. Just scanning at it really quickly. Lock Lifter. You now get 3, or from 3 vampirism, you now get 4. And for every vampiric item it's hitting, it's giving you 8 increased lifesteal instead of 7. I like this change. I really do feel like Locklifter is really close to being very, very strong. Not OP, just strong and playable. I feel like with this alone, poison builds are still better than Locklifter builds, but something like Magic Torch and some Mana Thirst, like Mana Thirst builds in general, I feel like really like this build now. I really like Locklifter. Like on the top of my head, I would say like Magic Torch plus 2 Mana Thirst, a Blood Goo in a build, maybe an Excalibur with a couple of Mana Thirst, and maybe even a Rapier as well for some extra damage and a luck generation or something like that. So I can see that. If we really want to go back in time, we could even do like the Mana Thirst, Magic Torch, Blood Dagger instead of like double Mana Thirst, Magic Torch, or even like double Magic Torch as well. I kind of like the Mana Thirst though, because they're a vampiric item and you can make it so they can buff the buff the Locklifter and have Locklifter buff it as well with certain positioning. So I kind of like this, yeah. I still feel like it's just not as good as Poison though, but I do like that they're trying something. I feel like my problem with healing, like Locklifter builds in general, is that anti-healing like Cap of Discomfort, Dark Heart, Amethyst and Armor is just too easy to get. What else do we have here? Mr. Struggles buff. Bonus trigger speed from 100 to 120. I still don't really know what to do with Struggles. I've tried the Bloodthorn Struggles stuff. It just feels like a meme. It's just not consistent enough, and even when it gets built and you get it all together, it doesn't feel strong enough for survival mode. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe this will help. Looks like a Misfortune change, not just a buff. Much slower Misfortune from 1.8 seconds to 3 seconds, but she now gives you 3 buffs instead of 2. So first thing I can tell is this means she's well, I wouldn't say bad. She's not a great Goobert activator anymore, which was one of her strengths. But overall, I kind of like this. I'd say this is overall a buff though, because more buffs and you can fanny pack her up anyway. And she's still an okay Goobert activator anyway. So I kind of like this change. Helps you stack up that one buff you're trying to stack up to as well much faster, like whether it's heat, regen, vampirism, whatever. So I do like this change, a very cute change. Looks like they're buffing Snake too, 0.1 second, making it 0.1 second faster. I do like that. It feels like Snake was getting unfairly nerfed in the past couple of weeks, in my opinion. Staff of Unhealing heals now from 16 to 18. That's great, but I feel like there's a problem here with Staff of Unhealing builds. And that is that Unhealing, its main issue is that it's a build that's really, in general, trying to play like for long rounds and, you know, fatigue and later. But it doesn't scale that hard compared to something like Magic Torches, Steel Goos, Chain Whips, etc., etc. There are like burst heavy builds though, like Potion Bomb builds, but those are really, really weak because of well, anti-healing stuff like I mentioned with Locklifter. And also damage reduction from Berserkers does not help out unhealing stuff. And it looks like a bunch of card buffs. So reverse buff steel, or steel buff steel is now from 2 to 3. That's cute. Jimbo now gives you 6 buffs instead of 5 buffs. I like that. And White Eyes gives you 3 cold, or gives your opponent 3 or 4 cold instead of 3 cold. All right, big fan of that. Maybe there's like a half poison, half card build you could do. Use the cards as your tankiness now. This is a really nice White Eyes buff too. I really like White Eyes. So I kind of like it. Reverse always felt like the weakest card in my opinion. So yeah, Jimbo is really strong though. I do think Jimbo is a great card and underused. Sure, it's a godly item, so it's hard to find, but I do like the Jimbo buff. So yeah, it's interesting, but yeah, cards, I feel like there needs to be a little bit more card payoff. Also I completely skipped over it. Cauldron buff too, it seems. Cauldron from 4 mana to 5 mana gain, heat 4 to 5 as well. I mean, Cauldron's interesting. My problem with Cauldron is well, again, it doesn't scale hard. All the Cauldron builds I've tried and even had a little bit of success with always felt like worse other builds, like worse poison, or I don't know, worse like potion bomb or something. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe if there's a way to use the mana better, like you can buy crowns, but crowns, I don't know, crowns are one, expensive and can only be used once. And potions, maybe if they buff Potion Belt, potions could come back and that could help out Cauldron, but I feel like it's going to be tough to make Cauldron work. Maybe they need to add like an extra line or something, or give it an extra effect, but I don't see this really helping out Cauldron, and that's sad because Cauldron is my favorite subclass item for Reaper. And I think that's it. Death Scythe now affects Dark Lantern. That's kind of a cute small buff, but I doubt that's ever going to matter too much. And then just some like UI changes, it seems, like move the reroll rope so it doesn't cover large items. Item library now uses icons for classes. All right. So overall, that's the patch. Mostly just seems to be trying to mess with the subclass items and the different subclasses and builds and whatever you want to call it. So I feel like Berserker is probably going to be the best class. Maybe I could honestly see Ranger with their Magic Torch, Critwood Staff kind of shenanigans, but I don't think that's consistent enough compared to, say, a Berserker who just goes Chain Whip or Busted Blade. Busted Blade's not that consistent, but still. I don't see Reaper breaking out of the last place. I still think Reaper is the worst of all the classes, in my opinion. Yes, she does have a couple of good builds. I do think Scythe Darksaber Poison Potion is really good. And also Darksaber Poison Goo is playable, but I don't think either of them are good enough for Grandmaster play. Maybe if you grind a lot and get really lucky, you can get to Grandmaster. But I don't think I don't think those builds are even close to the power level of the other classes' good builds. So overall, I like the patch. I like that they nerfed Berserker a little bit more. It did feel like Berserker was a little too strong. Kind of would have liked to see a small banner buff, or sorry, not banner buff, banner nerf, but we didn't see it. And maybe like a Reaper Mushroom buff too would be nice, like a small Reaper Mushroom buff. Like, I don't even know. Give it something so like when your opponent hits a certain amount of poison, it does something small, kind of like how Chili cleanses debuffs if you have enough heat. Something like that would be nice. Anyway, though, what would I rate this patch? I'd say like 7 out of 10. Doesn't feel like it's going to shake up the meta too much, but they did hit some important things. Seems like they're just like buffing a lot of stuff too. I really do like patches that buff a lot of stuff, but yeah, 7 out of 10. I don't think Reaper's really going to change too much, and nothing too exciting in all honesty. I guess I could argue the Misfortune change is exciting though. Anyway, though, I'd love to hear your opinion, though. What do you think of the patch, though? And what are you going to try? Any new builds you want to try out? Maybe some old builds you think might be good again? I'd love to hear your opinion. I'm going to be trying out a lot of Locklifter stuff with Reaper. So, yeah, I'd love to hear your opinion on what you think of the patch and what you're going to try with, try to climb with on the patch. And anyway, though, that's really all I've got to say. So, thank you all, though, for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, I'd love it if you could leave a like or a comment down below. Always helps me out and always helps out the channel. And if you guys want to keep up with the Backpack Battles content, you can always go and subscribe to the channel as well. Also, if you want to watch me play some Backpack Battles, you can go and check me out over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Xenaton, where I stream pretty much every single day. Anyway, though, with that all said and done, thank you all once more for watching this video. Until I see you guys in the next one, bye!